Everyone thinks that you need followers, a funnel, and a fancy website to hit 6 figures. But I barely had 2,000 followers when I did it. Because the reality is, none of that equals clients. What does? 4 things. 1 skill, 1 message, 1 place, 1 system. If I had known this back in my cubicle job, I would have been out years earlier. Honestly, I'm super embarrassed to admit this. But what actually stopped me from following this advice was thinking, I need to figure out the perfect business idea before I start. And maybe you've thought this too. Picture it. I'm in my 9-to-5 cubicle, staring at spreadsheets all day, thinking that the only way out was to invent the next Facebook. Spoiler alert, if that were true, I would still be in that cubicle. Here's what I wish someone would have told me. Picking a business idea isn't life or death. It's like choosing an exit ramp. You just need to get off the highway first. You can always switch routes later, so don't overthink it. Your first idea doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to replace your salary. And you only need 1 skill to do it. The game is simple. Would someone pay for this skill? Yes? Congrats. You passed go and collected your check. No? Roll again. For me, that skill was ads consulting. Not glamorous, definitely not forever. But it was enough to prove that I could get paid outside of a job. And that proof is everything. The fastest way to get yours? Look at what people already come to you for, or what you're already getting paid for at work. Then do that. I'm being so real with you when I say this. Forget the websites, logos, funnels. None of that gets you your first client. The only thing that does, getting your first client. You might be thinking, yeah, duh, Luisa, but seriously, the moment someone pays you, everything changes. Wait, this worked? People will actually pay me? And in a second, I'll show you why getting your first yes isn't about having a perfect skill. Because you can make it work with almost any skill, as long as people know about it. Because having a skill no one knows about is like being the best karaoke singer in your shower. Seriously. Drop your go-to shower song in the comments. Mine is Let It Go. And yes, Steven is thrilled about it on Saturday mornings. Anyway, that was my next hurdle. I needed people to actually see me and go, oh, that's the girl who helps with ads. But here's where I messed up. And I see so many new entrepreneurs do this too. I thought, I don't have a ton of followers, so there is no way I can make sales. So what did I do? I binged Gary Vee, read every blog about the algorithm, and started throwing out random posts like spaghetti. I was just praying something would stick. And you will be absolutely shocked to know nothing did. Here's why. I was making the #1 mistake almost every new entrepreneur makes. I was acting like a content creator. But if you want a 6-figure business, you need to be a content marketer. I've now worked with over 4,000 coaches to build their businesses. Some of them had hundreds of thousands of followers. And you know what? A lot of those big names couldn't sell a single product. Meanwhile, people with tiny followings were quietly hitting multiple 6 figures. So let me ask you, if follower count really equaled sales, wouldn't every dancing preteen on TikTok be a millionaire by now? When I stopped spaghetti posting and started marketing, that's when things clicked. I hit 6 figures before I even hit 2,500 followers in my Facebook group. Why? Because my content wasn't for everyone. It was laser targeted to my ideal client, the people ready to buy. So here's what you want to do. Pick 1 message, repeat it until you're sick of it, then keep going. For example, Instagram lets you add keywords to your bio. That's free SEO. Use it. Abby, who produces this channel, also runs Enneagram workshops for teams. So in her bio, team workshops. For me, it's breaking free from the 9-to-5 with coaching. That way, when your ideal client stumbles on your profile, it is crystal clear. Oh, that's what they do. The goal isn't to go viral. It's to be unforgettable to the people who will actually hire you. And if you're wondering, okay, Luisa, but how do I get people to actually notice me in the first place? That's what we're gonna tackle next. I had to learn the hard way. Clients aren't just gonna magically find you. You've gotta show up where they already are. And trust me, I know that fear, especially as a hardcore introvert. What if nobody ever says yes? Or worse, what if I just put myself out there and I'm left hanging like a total loser? Honestly, some days that fear made me want to curl up in bed, turn on a bad Netflix rom-com, and just numb out. But as risky as putting yourself out there feels, hiding is actually way riskier, because the fact is, if you are invisible, no one can hire you. So how did I get visible? I started with Facebook groups. Yes, back when those were cool. Now, back then, there was also this kind of gross trend. People would drop their links and just vanish. So instead, I tried something a little classier. That's my secret goal. Add some class to the internet. I would join a group, ask the admin how I could actually help, then jump in trying to genuinely add value. When promo time came, sure, I would share my offer, but most of the time, people had already looked me up because I'd been helpful. Fast forward to using more current social channels, RIP MySpace, the principle is still the same. Go where your people already hang out, and then show up in a meaningful way. Like how I got a client after going on one of my very first podcast interviews with Farnoosh Torabi. But what's even cooler, I was at a friend's house when her husband came home. He's a finance guy. I introduced myself and he goes, "Wait, where do I know your name from?" Turns out he'd heard me on the podcast. Instant credibility. Not because I'm some big deal, but because he trusted the host. Now, as someone who gets overwhelmed really easily, here's the secret that kept me sane through all of this. I picked one main place to show up. Not 5, not be everywhere, just one. And showing up there consistently week after week was enough. But here's the unpleasant surprise no one told me about. Putting myself out there did not feel amazing. It felt like I was drowning. One day I was making content, the next pitching podcasts, then realizing I'd forgotten to follow up with someone who actually wanted to pay me. Meanwhile, my laptop, 23 abandoned tabs, which unfortunately I still do to this day. Late one night, it just hit me. I was hours into preparing for a client call and I just couldn't. I turned to Steven and, for lack of a better word, whined. "I don't know what's wrong with me. Future Luisa here. Nothing is wrong with you. You're just burned out. What you need isn't more work ethic. You need a system." So I finally wrote down what I do, how I onboard, deliver, and follow up, and then started following it. And once I did that, you will never believe it, I didn't have to reinvent the wheel every time. Like, why was I making every first client call different? Once I used the same structure and system for everyone, it instantly got so much faster and easier. Huge relief. Then I thought, wait, if delivery can be this simple, why not sales? So I stopped bouncing between 10 different ways of selling and picked just one. Funnel potential clients to an application, then a one-on-one call. Yes or no, that's it. With those figured out, content finally stopped giving me stress dreams. I had a rhythm that I could actually stick with. Weekly posts, a set number of podcast pitches, and showing up where my people were already hanging out. It would be an understatement to say that I was obsessed with the results, because finally, I felt calm. Once you nail your one system, you stop waking up in squirrel brain mode. What do I even do today? You wake up knowing exactly what to do, and you do it. So your business starts growing more naturally. And that freedom, that's the reason you started this in the first place. So high five to that. But let's also be real. Sometimes it's not about the skills or the systems. It's about how overwhelming it feels when you're actually in it. And that's where most people quit. In this next video, I'm gonna show you what it's really like to get started and how to level up even when you feel completely lost. I'll see you over there.